Government deploys military retirees to secure ungoverned spaces. Akpabio gazetted copies of tax laws reflect National Assembly votes. There are no discrepancies. Strike continues as NLC TUC pledge support for FCT workers. Police fire tear gas as protesters over demolitions at Lagos Assembly. No going back on May market closure. Don't push me to demolish it, says Soludo, warning traders. Iyabo Obasanjo joins APC. Naira redesign, court fixes 10 days to conclude trial in EFCC's case against Emefiele. Army major killed as ISWAP terrorists attack military patrol in Borno. President Tinubu mourns renowned industrialist, business titan Ojora. And moving on to the foreign scene, ECOWAS lifts sanction on Guinea. 15 die in Colombia plane crash. Trump warns Iran to strike nuclear deal or face harsher U.S. attack. Mozambique expects death toll to rise as search for flood survivors continue. And moving into the world of sport, UCL, Madrid, Juventus, Inter, PSG miss out on automatic qualification to round of 16. La Liga offers reward to fans who report illegal football broadcasts. And those are the major headlines making the rounds this morning. It was compiled and edited by Adeyemi Adewale. My name is Nedu Okorie. For sponsorship or advert placement, kindly contact our sales and marketing office on 0912 929 4332. You can also call 09077227120. Up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we discuss and have an in-depth analysis on some of the topical stories. Don't forget that you can also follow us by logging on to any of Diamond FM online platforms on www.diamondfm.net or keep up to date via all our social media pages. We'll be right back.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
For my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. Why not kill us for Nigeria? Please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can a government, how can you hold in domain? It's intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice the new democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people. From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Loring, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
All right, you're welcome to Diamond Breakfast Show, the Thursday edition. Welcome to your shining supreme station. It's still Diamond 88.7 FM. Yes, we can confidently say that this is the best radio station in Ilorin, Kwara State, Nigeria. And this morning on the program, where we normally unpack issues that are trending from the national dailies, we have three important topics to discuss. First, we'll take a look at the power sector. Yes, this year alone, or this month alone, in this year, the national grid has collapsed twice. And there have been criticisms and comments concerning this. Peter Obi has made a comment, and there is also a counter reaction concerning this by Reno Okorie. We'll take a look at all this. Then from there, we'll move on to the issues concerning security. Yes, the strategies by the military and the federal government in ensuring that there is a robust national security strategy as they plan to incorporate retired military personnel and veterans into the national security strategy. Then lastly, we'll take a look at what is going on in the Southeast. Yes, the Monday sit-at-home, practice or anomaly. We'll take a look at it as the governor of Anambra State tries to, stop this sit-at-home that has crumbled businesses in the Southeast. All right, I'm not alone in the studio to discuss these issues. I'm being joined by a renowned public affairs commentator here in Kwara State. I'm talking about Comrade Jimo Alikinla. Comrade, you're welcome to the studio this morning.
Good morning, Nedu. Alias Odogu. Good morning, Kwarans, and good morning, listeners at home. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, you're welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's delve straight into what we have this morning. Yes, like I said earlier, the national grid has collapsed twice in January 2026 alone. And in 2025, the grid reportedly collapsed about 12 times. And recall that in 2022, President Tinubu promised to deliver steady power supply, steady electricity during his campaign promises within the first 4 years of his tenure. And he stated that he called on Nigerians that if I don't provide electricity within the first 4 years, do not vote for me in the second term. Well, with respect to this, Peter Obi has criticized President Bola Tinubu over the frequent collapse of the national grid, saying that it contradicts his campaign pledge that every Nigerian should be concerned about it. But one important point Peter Obi raised is the comparison between Nigeria and Turkey, the country known as Turkey. Obi referenced Tinubu's foreign trip to Turkey, which has a population of 87 million people, which is roughly 1/3 of, Nigeria's population. But according to him, he said they generate and distribute over 120,000. Let's take note of that. 120,000 megawatts of electricity. But Nigeria is still struggling to generate 6,000 megawatts of electricity. That is 5% of what Turkey is, generating or distributing as output. And this is a very wide margin. And is actually calling for, accountability by the people. He's urging Nigerians to stand up and speak up and call on the government that is responsible for all this to stand up and revitalize the electricity sector. And he's advising against distractions as everyone is being concerned with the 2027 election cycle and also the campaign towards that election. According to him, this is what every politician is focused on. But let's take a look at our electricity sector before we take a look at the reaction by Reno Okorie. What do you make of what is going on in our power sector? This incessant collapse of our national grid and the reaction of Peter Obi. Comrade.
Thank you very much for this wonderful topic. This topic is as good as saying good morning to all Nigerians. Because this topic is actually part of us.
Okay.
As a Nigeria. I would like to start in this regard that all what you have read, all what you have heard from you this morning, they are actually part of life.
Part of life?
Of every citizen in this country.
Okay.
We need to be very careful with what we say, what we promise, and what we do on a daily basis. Take, for instance, let's start from how you pick it.
Okay.
That we should talk about the greed.
Okay.
Now, you discover that if we try to extrapolate, one will now say that in the days before the advent of oil, they discovered oil in 1938 and full exploration started in 1956. Now, and Nigeria has gotten power before discovery of oil, because when we were trying to establish the hydroelectric power authority in the olden days, we used cocoa, rubber, palm kernel, granite money to build that hydroelectric power authority that we are still using till today. Meaning that power station must have been over 100 years. Or if not up to. I stand to be corrected. What I'm saying here is that the thing has gone obsolete. Very archaic.
In terms of the infrastructure.
In terms of the infrastructure. Then in terms of the durability of those cables, those equipment being used that are there, then we now move into the era of oil boom. Till date, we are still managing rigmaroling our population. Then take, for instance, when we had our independence in 1960, Nigeria was 65 million in population. Now, you use that same equipment you used to service or to serve 65 million people to now serve about 240, 250, almost 300 million in population. So this is what you will get. As at that point, you discover that the grid was able to curtail, to sustain, to maintain the population of Nigerians at that point in time. Because more people, as we grow every day, more and more people are building. And they need light from this same source. You see the point? Now, my concern now is this. Where Peter Obi is going on, that the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, promised Nigeria in 2022 that his first 4 years, he was going to rectify all the problems that is gulping about 40, 50, 60 years. That is going to solve it in 4 years, which is practically impossible. So the first things we want us to learn is that don't say or promise what you don't know the capacity or the in-between success and failure before you make promise.
Now, is it addressed to politicians or to the citizens who listen to what politicians normally say?
Yes, this is a very good example for all Nigerians to learn from. That is, don't promise what you don't know the actual capacity of it. That is, he was not in power at that point in time, but he needed this power. And
all right.
The only thing is that he discovered that the power sector is a problem for Nigerians. All Nigerians, we are suffering from it. I needed something to appeal to the population.
To attract votes.
To attract voters to his own side.
So, in other words, you're trying to say that whatever is being said or promises being made by politicians should not be believed hook, line, and sinker. It should be investigated thoroughly before being believed. Is that what you're saying?
The voters have delivered for him. Then when he now got to the office, he now made the reality on ground.
Of his campaign promise.
The expiration in 2020, it should be at least